The National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 11.
Hollywood, California, Monday, June 29th.
Presents the finest in motion picture entertainment, Academy Award.
From Hollywood, Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter.
Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and Jimmy Stewart.
The Lux Radio Theater welcomes you all.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Dwayne Old Time Radio. Before we get to today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the show. Lux Radio Theater. We're going to start with Dodsworth, starring Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland, October 4th, 1937. Then Stella Dallas, Barbara Stanwyck stars with John Boles, October 11th, 1937.
From Hollywood, California, the Lux Radio Theater presents Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland in the Sinclair Lewis story, Dodsworth. Lux presents Hollywood. This program, ladies and gentlemen, is your program, for the Lux Radio Theater is made possible by your purchases of our products. Starring tonight on our stage on Hollywood Boulevard are Walter Huston, his wife Nan Sunderland, Barbara O'Neill, Pedro de Cordova, and Barbara Kent. As special guest, Mr. Arthur M. Levy, head of styles and wardrobe at 20th Century Fox Studios. Lois Silvers conducts our orchestra, while our entire production is under the personal direction of that celebrated pioneer of motion pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. After 35 years behind footlights, Walter Huston's idea of happiness is to do 1 play a year, 1 picture a year, and 2 broadcasts in the Lux Radio Theater. The rest of his time he spends at his home in the San Bernardino Mountains, 100 miles from Hollywood, where your prestige is gauged by the amount of wood you can chop. It's typical of Walter that he enjoys this brand of happiness. He once said, if I were a different type of man, I'd undoubtedly be tempted by the money to be made doing several pictures a year. I'd get rich and very miserable. It would keep me from the stage. It would keep me from the mountains. And I'd be playing parts I probably wouldn't like. Sooner or later, he says, we're going to discover that money is the most overrated thing on earth, and honest work the most belittled. The practice of that philosophy has made Walter one of our most sincere and competent artists. As Dodsworth, in Sinclair Lewis' distinguished story, he returns with Nan Sunderland, Mrs. Huston, to enact for us again one of the most memorable performances ever given on our stage. Our delight in hearing Miss Sunderland is one which theater audiences will soon share when she appears on Broadway in a new play. She's heard tonight as Fran. Also high on our star-studded cast are Barbara O'Neill as Edith Cartwright, Barbara Kent as Emily Dodsworth, and Pedro de Cordova as Arnold Israel. And here's our play, the Lux Radio Theater production of Dodsworth, starring Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland. Our scene is the comfortably furnished library of the Dodsworth home in Zenith. It's late afternoon, and Fran Dodsworth, smartly dressed for traveling, sits beside the fire checking over a list of things to be done before her departure. Mary, the maid, listens attentively.
Let me see now, Mary. Wasn't there something else? Oh, yes, those books on the table. Mr. Dodds was taking them along. See if you can't slip them into his big leather suitcase.
Yes, Mrs. Dodsworth.
And send all the old magazines to the Salvation Army.
Yes, Mrs. Dodsworth.
And when my daughter and Miss McKee get back from their honeymoon, I put all the wedding presents that came after they left in the closet of Miss Emily's old room.
I'll tell her, ma'am.
Oh, Sam, how are you, dear? That's all, Mary.
Yes, Mrs. Dodsworth.
Well, is everything settled, Sam?
Yes, it's all over. The Revelation Motor Company, Samuel Dodsworth, president and founder, became the property of United Motors a little over an hour ago.
How do you feel?
Well, how would any man feel who just sold 25 years of his life?
I suppose you feel kind of lost.
Well, I knew what I was doing when I sold, Fran. I know what I'm after from now on.
You mustn't feel lost, though. I mean, that will wear off. Life isn't going to be empty from now on. It's going to be fuller than ever and richer for both of us, Sam. Think, darling, you're free. After 20 years of doing what was expected of you, we're free.
Yes, I suppose so.
Don't look so mournful about it, darling. It all seems so exciting to me.
Yeah, but I'm just as keen on this trip as you are, Fran. I'm raring to go. I've always wanted to see London and Paris.
Oh, but I want much more than a trip out of this, Sam. I want a new life all over from the beginning. A perfectly glorious, free, adventurous life.
What's to prevent?
Nothing if we start off on a free foot. Why, I'd almost sell this house so we wouldn't have anything to tie us down.
Good Lord, Fran, it's our home. We built ourselves into it.
What I want is to get us some new selves now.
Me?
Yes, you. Why, if we weren't tied to this deadly, half-baked Middle Western town...
Now, Fran, don't start knocking Zena. I can be free enough without going back on my hometown.
I'm thinking of my freedom, too. In Europe, a woman of my age is just getting to where men take a serious interest in her. And I just won't be put on the shelf by my daughter when I can still dance better and longer than she can. I've got brains, and thank heaven, I've still got looks. And no one ever takes me for more than 35, or 30 even. I'm begging for life, Sam. No, I'm not. I'm demanding it.
Well, I see how you feel. All right, I'll enjoy life now if it kills me, and it probably will.
We've earned this trip, Sam. It's coming to both of us. You've got plenty to show for all your work. We've brought up Emily and seen her married. And I've done my part, Sam. It hasn't always been easy.
And it will, dear, from now on.
Oh, Sam, I love you ever so much more when you're not just an old horse in a treadmill.
I say, you bloody European travelers.
Oh, hello, Tubby. Hello, matey.
Oh,
Voulez-vous français, Springsy Dites, got a spaghetti?
Oh, stop being funny, Tubby.
Let him alone, matey. He's just glad to see us go.
Sure. How are you, Fran?
All right, let me take your things, matey.
Oh, thanks. We weren't satisfied just to come to the station with everyone else, Sam.
Hmm?
We're going to New York with you.
Yeah?
What?
That's right. Me and the wife's going to see you off the pier. Toot, toot. All ashore. Goodbye.
Say, that's great, isn't it, Fran, huh?
Yes. I'll run up and close the bag.
But, Fran, Tubby and matey came to see you, too.
I won't be long. Oh, can't I help you?
Go ahead, matey.
Oh, let me come along, Fran. I won't be in the way.
Well, Tubby, old son of a gun, how about a cocktail?
No, thanks.
What's wrong with you?
I think I'll stay sober until after I've given you a hunk of my mind.
Yeah, what have I done?
You know darn well what you've done. Americans like you and me can't quit work, Sam. We've met to keep on working till we die in harness.
Tubby, I'm out to make a new life for myself. I'm out to learn how to enjoy my leisure now I've retired. I've been doing things that people expected of me always.
Oh, shut up. If you think I can see my oldest and closest friend turned into an ex-patriot parlor snake because Zenith isn't good enough for his wife.
Easy now, easy, Tubby.
Ever since college, I've yes, June, looked up to you. You're pretty near everything I'm not and ought to be. But you're a blame fool when it comes to your wife.
You don't know what you're talking about.
What were you trying to do, Tubby? Make Sam buy back the company?
No, I wasn't. But Sam's going to regret this the end of his life. He knows it as well as I do.
No, I don't, Tubby. I don't know anything of the kind. All I know is that I'm out to see some of the world I haven't seen and get a perspective on the USA. Hey, I might get to know myself at the same time. I might even get to know my wife. Fran, did I remember to tell you today that I adore you?
Major Lukas.
Well, here you are. I've been looking for you, Fran.
Have you? Wasn't the captain's dinner delightful?
Done up quite well, I thought. Where's your husband?
I left him out on the deck to cool off. The fresh air won't hurt him. He thinks he sees a lighthouse or something.
Sorry it's over, Fran.
Sorry, what's over?
The voyage.
No. Oh, not that I've been bored. You've taken excellent care of that, Major Lukas. If it hadn't been for meeting you Britishers, though. Sam says he can't wait to set foot on British soil. Well, neither can I. But when I do set foot...
You'll try your wings.
That's very pretty, Major. I hope I don't fall.
I've been laying out things for us to do in London.
For us to do?
Why not?
Fran! Fran, it was land.
Oh, was it, Sammy dear?
Bishop's Light, they call it. Say, I could get ashore in half an hour if I had a motorboat. I can't believe we've done it. Ashore in England.
If you keep on across the ocean in a straight line, Sammy, you're bound to strike land sooner or later.
I know, but England.
That's the most natural part of it, Dodsworth. If it were Africa now, where England...
Well, my first sight of England isn't funny to me. Come on, Fran. Come on and look at the light, huh?
I suppose we'll have to. Coming, Major?
Well, it is my native land.
There you are. See it, Fran? Look, Bishop's Light.
Yes, Sam, I'm cold. Let's go in.
You know, I could get ashore in half an hour if I had a fast motorboat.
I'd rather dance. Coming, Major Lukas?
All right, you two go along. I'll join you after I've calmed down.
Mr. Dodsworth?
Oh, hello, Mrs. Courtright.
What was it you just called that light? I saw it, too.
Bishop's Light. Of course, I've never been across before. I got excited.
Oh, well, there's nothing like a first trip to Europe.
Yeah, especially when you're old enough to know what you're after.
What are you after?
Well, I'm enjoying the leisure. You see, I've been doing things myself for a long time now. I thought I'd give things a chance to do something to me.
Oh, the education of an American.
Yes, you might call it that.
Now, how long have you given yourself?
6 months. Oh, I'll be homesick by then.
Yes. I was homesick the first year I came over.
Came over? Where from?
Michigan.
Oh, are you an American, Mrs. Courtright?
I don't know what I am. I used to be a British subject by marriage. I don't know that one can be a British subject by divorce. I expect I'm just a woman who lives in Italy.
Italy? Why?
It's cheap.
Oh. Say, what's it like?
Well, now, that depends on what one's after, as you'd say.
Well, when a man has no more job and his wife wants a fling, there are worse things than travel.
Much worse.
Yeah, but for a steady thing, give me American. For Americans, that is.
Your wife wouldn't say that.
She will by the time our 6 months are up.
I hope she does. Drifting isn't nearly as pleasant as it looks.
Well, say, if you don't like it, why don't you give it up?
Well, one drifts for a lack of a reason to do anything else.
Well, what do you want?
What do you suppose any lone woman wants?
I guess I've been talking too much again. I'm sorry, Mrs. Courtright. Look around you, friend. Piccadilly, London.
Sam, please.
No, I just can't get over it. Smell it. Sooty. That's the coal smoke. Listen to it, Fran. You know, New York may be noisier, but this is deeper.
Sam, don't act like a tourist. Come on. Well, here we are. Come in, Major Lockett.
Thanks.
Oh, it was a grand evening, wasn't it?
Was for me.
Oh, Sam. Sam, dear. I guess he's not home yet. Sit down, Clyde.
It's rather late.
Oh, please, Clyde. He's gone off to a stag dinner. Won't be home for hours yet. You can keep me company.
I say, he isn't likely to come in roaring, is he, and shoot me when he finds me here.
Sam. Sam has all the old-fashioned virtues except jealousy.
Call it a virtue, do you?
Well, when a wife who isn't exactly plain and seems to be attractive to other men and doesn't mind when they show her that they are attractive.
Oh, quite. Yes, I see what you mean.
Clyde, you're not being as amusing as usual tonight.
I don't feel amusing.
Be informing, then. Tell me the story of your life.
I'd rather hold your hand. You don't mind?
You do it so beautifully that I rather like it.
Fran, do me a favor.
What?
Don't go trekking over to the continent. You belong here, Fran. I need you here.
You don't mean that. And I don't want you to mean it.
Fran, darling.
Clyde, please, please.
There. Does that show you that I mean it?
That is a very silly thing to do, Clyde.
Fran.
And I didn't like it. I think you'd better go.
Are you trying to make me feel that you resented my kissing you?
Did you think I wouldn't resent it?
Sorry, I thought I was doing what was expected of me.
I thought civilized people knew where an innocent flirtation stops. Will you go, please?
Of course. Fran, you've the most charming and childish misconception of yourself. You think you're a woman of the world. Oh, nothing of the sort, and I'm afraid you never will be.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello there, Dodsworth.
You folks just get in?
Yes.
Now, how was the show?
All right, if you like entertainment that ends badly. Good night.
Good night. You know, he's not so bad. He's fresh, but he's not so bad. My friend, darling, what's the matter? What is it?
I've never been so furious in my life.
What, Lockhart?
Don't mention that rotter's name.
What did he do?
He insulted me.
Yeah, how far did he go?
When I tried to put him in his place, he said things to me. He said things that I can't bear it.
Well, I suppose up to me to go out and shoot him.
Don't joke, Sam.
Well, I would feel rather like a fool. You know, you and I aren't up to this sort of thing. It kind of makes us look like the hicks we are.
Sam.
Well, it does, and it's your own fault for leading him on.
So I'm to blame.
Well, you must have given him some excuse for making a pass. You have been flirting with him, and you've got such a sweet way of bawling me out in front of him that he naturally concludes...
I've never said anything to embarrass you. I'm always loyal to you. Oh, you'll be sorry. You'll be sorry.
And I'm tired.
I'm tired, too.
All right, then we're both tired.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah, what is it now?
We never used to scrap so much at home.
Well, I guess we haven't got enough else to do over here.
Don't say that. It's England. England's such a strain. I want to go over to France tomorrow, Sam.
I don't. I like it here.
I don't.
Now, I'm just beginning to get on to things in London. I've got a date to look at some airplane factories.
I don't care if you have.
I know, but France will be so foreign.
I want it to be. I want to start all over. I'm ashamed of this Lockwood business. And I can't stay in this country with that man laughing at me and saying
What,
that
did you kick him out?
Now, you've got to take me away. I don't trust myself. I'm afraid of myself.
Afraid, sweetheart?
Yes, I am. I'm just a woolly American like you, after all. If you ever catch me trying to be anything else, will you beat me?
Well, will I have to beat you very long at a time?
Oh, darling.
The Lux Radio Theater continues with Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland in Dodsworth in just a moment. Before we go on, however, let's look in on a Hollywood tea party. It's a kitchen shower for one of the girls over at RKO who's getting married the end of the week.
Oh, I'm the luckiest bride that ever was to get all these dandy presents. Oh, this is just the beginning, Grace. Oh, here's another. From Emily. And I bet I know what it is.
And I bet I do, too. It's a flower, sister. And look, she's written a poem. It's because of your biscuit your husband starts drifting. It's no fault of the flower if it gets a good sifting. Oh, that'd be swell.
Oh, here's something from Dorothy. What do you suppose it is?
Dot's written a poem, too. Perhaps that will tell. First a tip from me to you. Hands shouldn't show the work they do. So here's my gift. Lux Flakes, my friends. The beauty care that protects my hands. Why, Dot, I always thought you gave your hands some expensive beauty treatment.
Oh, not much. Why should I bother with beauty treatments when I use Lux for dishes?
Well, most people seem to get red, rough-looking hands from dishwashing.
Well, you won't have to worry about that. With Lux Flakes around the house, you can keep your hands as soft and nice. Why, you can look like you never did a lick of work in your life.
Well, I guess I'll be using your gift every day, Dot. I'm glad you started me off with a big box.
Oh, I always get the large size. It's more economical, really. Come on, read this next one. An ode on what's owed to the butcher.
Mr. DeMille presents the next scene of Dodsworth. We continue with Dodsworth, starring Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland, with Barbara O'Neill, Pedro de Cordova, and Barbara Kent. 1 month has passed, and the Dodsworths are in Paris. We're in their hotel suite, where they've been entertaining some of their newfound friends. On the balcony, high above the city, we find Fran Dodsworth with Arnold Israel, a suavely polished citizen of the world.
And what can I do to make myself a part of your Paris, Mrs. Dodsworth?
Come to dine with us again, Arnold.
Oh, no. You and your husband must come to us now. Tuesday at 8, Quai Voltaire, through the Carousel and straight over the river.
Oh, what a charming address. Where do you call your home, Arnold?
I was born in Krakow. I grew up here. I keep my residence in New York, a flat in London, and a villa at Antibes.
Oh, what an ideal existence.
I believe in freedom and variety.
So do I.
That should cement our friendship. Madame de Penab tells me that you and she are taking a villa on Lake Geneva for the summer.
Well, it hasn't been settled.
Then you will not return to America with your husband in June?
That hasn't been settled either.
I expect to be at Geneva in August. Perhaps I could...
Oh, you must come to see us. I mean, if we're there.
Oh, I shall be delighted. Really delighted.
Mrs. Dodsworth?
Oh, yes. Mrs. Cartwright?
Everyone seems to be going. I must say good night.
And so must I. It's been a charming evening, Mrs. Dodsworth. I've been happy to celebrate your birthday with you.
Oh, I hadn't realized it was your birthday, Mrs. Dodsworth.
I wish I hadn't. No woman enjoys getting to be 35.
When you're 40, as I am, you'll look back on 35 as a most agreeable age.
I hope I look as young as you do, Mrs. Courtwright, when I'm 40.
You're almost sure to, my dear.
I must get my coat.
My dear, don't.
What?
You're so charming. Be sure you're right.
I don't know what you're talking about. Shall we go in?
Yes, sir. Well, then I went in where Napoleon was crowned, and I sat down, and there I was. Napoleon and Sam Dodsworth of Zenith together. It was a big kick, I tell you. Oh, hello, friend.
Mr. Dodsworth has been giving us his impression of Paris.
Oh, yes?
The manufacturer of automobiles comes into contact with Gothic permanence and finds it
Now,
overpowering.
right. That's exactly what I like about sightseeing. It shows you how small you are in time as well as space. Of course, Fran says it isn't the thing to do, but I like it. What do you say, Kurt?
Paris? I detest it. For me, it is a motion picture made by lunatics.
Well, I have listened while an American automobile magnate, an Austrian travel agent, and an international banker have explained Paris to me, a Parisian. Eh bien, now I go home. Good night, my dearest friend.
Good night, Madame de Prenard. Good night, Court, dear. Thanks for my sweet flowers. Call me up tomorrow. We might dance somewhere for tea.
Entendu.
Good night. Good night, Kurt.
Good night,
Good night, Arnold.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Dodsworth.
Oh, are you going too, Mrs. Courtwright?
I must. But I stole a bit of your paper to write my Italian address on. Here it is. Come and see me.
Say, we'd love to.
Please do. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Courtwright.
You like that woman, don't you?
Well, you thought she was the most distinguished-looking woman on the boat.
She seems a front in Paris. So, you know, I'm always glad to entertain any of your friends, Sam, even the not particularly amusing ones. Oh, I think I'll go to bed. Coming?
Yes. Say, Fran,
Yes?
haven't we had about enough of Paris?
My dear Sam, unfasten this shoulder strap, will you, mon vieux?
No, I mean, isn't it about time we began thinking about going home?
Home? No. I want to see lots more of Europe.
Well, so do I, but we could get in a couple of months of the Mediterranean and Germany and still catch a June sailing. And I want to see Venice and Rome and get a stein of real German beer before I'm through.
Still planning your tourist vacation, are you?
Well, I don't see much percentage just sitting here on my rear end. No, I've got some business I want to attend to. I'd like to see Emily. We haven't seen her since the honeymoon. I'd like to be in New Haven for my class reunion.
Sam,
Yeah?
why don't you go home?
What, without you?
Yes. Get yourself a new lease on life, and then come back and join me. Why don't you?
No, I wouldn't want to go home without you, Fran.
Well, I can see you aren't enjoying Paris. I'm only thinking of your pleasure. If you thought of mine, you wouldn't ask me to leave here just when we're getting to know some really nice people.
Well, I don't think they're so nice.
We needn't go into that again.
Well, I don't, and I don't see what you see in them. Now, this Arnold Israel may be all he says he is, internationally and financially, but he certainly is no Barney Baruch.
Sam.
This Mrs. Penable, well, she may be all right, but I hate to think who pays the bill when that young Austrian Kurt takes you out.
Arnold Israel happens to be one of the most distinguished living financiers.
Yeah.
And Renee, and it is Madame de Penable, not Mrs. Penable, is a true woman of the great world here. Kurt may be poor, but he holds one of the oldest titles in Austria, and they all belong to the most amusing and exclusive crowd in Paris.
Fran, do you think the real thing in Paris would hang out with a couple of hicks like us?
Hicks?
All right, now what else are we? I'm just an ordinary American businessman, and I married the daughter of a Zenith brewer who's flying pretty high these days.
I suppose you know what you mean by that.
Well, why won't you sit at a sidewalk cafe with me?
Because smart people don't.
I'm not smart.
I am.
Then you ought to be smart enough not to care what people think.
Now let's have the one about the great motor magnate and all he's done for the automobile industry. You may be the most impressive man in Zenith, but you're not in Zenith now. You're in Paris. And I'm sick and tired of apologizing to my
friends. Have you been
for the
apologizing to this
yes,
crowd for me?
I have.
Hello? Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Well, we've been making so much noise, someone's complained.
How humiliating.
Yes, isn't it? All right, go ahead. Pipe down, but go ahead. I'm waiting.
You're hopeless. If you had the mistiest notion of civilization here.
Yeah, well, maybe I don't think so much of it, though. Maybe clean hospitals, concrete highways, and no soldiers along the Canadian border come near my idea of civilization. There are 20 million automobiles in America. I've contributed something to every one of them for my own personal civilization. And if that isn't more than knowing how to order dinner as your friend the madam...
Don't call her the madam, either.
All right. Let's not go into that again. I'm going to get out of this town and back to doing something and take you along.
Sam, I'm not going.
Oh, yes, you are.
I think we need a vacation from each other.
Well, I don't feel that way about it.
I've taken a villa with René de Penard in Switzerland.
Well, I think you might have told me.
I've got my own money.
Fran.
What?
Fran, my darling, you're not drifting away from me.
I hope not.
And you and I, Fran, after 20 years? All right, I'll give it up. I won't go home.
You've got to go. I can't stand being torn this way any longer. I'm suffocating.
Fran.
I'm sorry for everything mean I've said, but if we're going on together, I've got to be left alone this summer. Now, don't look so hurt, and please don't be angry. Or do be angry if it'll make you feel any happier. But remember that I did make a real home for you, and I'll do it again. But you've got to let me have my fling now, because you're simply rushing at old age, Sam, and I'm not ready for old age yet. What are you looking at?
Shipping news. I just thought I'd see the first boat I could catch.
Look at this, Sam Dodsworth's home.
Sam Dodsworth's home.
Said he had a class reunion.
Sam Dodsworth, and she's not with him.
Well, why should I say anything I didn't think? You didn't think what would make me think? Well, maybe I don't care what you think. Well, you'd better care what I think.
Hello, Dad. Hello, Tubby. Lady's here. We've been waiting for you.
Sam.
Tubby. Was it fun in New Haven? Did you have a good time?
Had a wonderful time.
Oh, what is this? A heat wave or just a hangover?
It's Sam. Sam, yeah, Sam. I'm going home. Well, go ahead.
Tubby, sit down.
I'm going home.
Tubby. Is anything wrong, Dad?
No. Has a cable come for me today?
Not yet.
Why, there should have been a cable from your mother.
I can telephone them.
No, don't bother. The cable would have come, they'd have sent it out, wouldn't they?
Don't be cross, Father.
I'm not being cross. I only asked if there'd been a cable. In the old days, I wouldn't have to ask. Been laid out on my table for me. The way things run around this house, I can't find anything of mine.
I know things aren't the same, Father, but please don't be difficult.
Well, can you blame a man for being difficult when his own family makes him feel more homeless in his own home than he did in Paris?
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, it's a fact. And I'm not being difficult. Where's my mail?
There isn't any.
No mail? My mail should be laid out on this table.
But, Father, if there isn't any mail to lay out...
Your mother always had my mail laid out. No cable, no mail.
Is that the trouble, Sam?
What?
No cable and no mail.
No. Have a cigar, Tubby? Anything, Sam? Anything? All right, where are the cigars?
Why, Harry smokes cigarettes. I'll order some.
No, don't bother. It never would have been like this in your mother's day. No mail, no cigars, no cable.
Father, I'm sorry things aren't Father, I'm sorry things aren't the way they used to be. But Harry and I are living here now. And I wish you'd stop speaking of Mother as though she were dead.
I'm not speaking of your mother as though she...
Oh, yes, you are, Sam. You are.
Well, Fran's coming home.
Is she? Dad.
Yeah, she's coming any time now. I wrote her over a week ago and told her to come back. Just waiting for a cable to tell me the boat.
Oh, dear me, Mr. Dodsworth.
What's the matter with you?
Well, here's a cable for you. It came this afternoon, but
let me see it. Thank heaven. Maybe we'll get a little peace and quiet around here now, Emily.
What's the matter, Sam? Isn't Mother coming?
This isn't from your mother. It's nothing.
Go outside, Tubby.
Huh?
Go out.
Oh, sure.
Come on, Tubby.
Yeah. So long for a while, you old horse thief.
Sam, what is it?
She's not coming, maybe.
I guessed as much. What did she say?
Want a few more months, Europe. Hope you're having good time home. Not one word about me going over.
No, she's thoughtless.
No, she's not, matey. She's scared.
Scared? Of what?
Of growing old.
Sam, those people she's with, the ones she mentioned in her last letter, do you know them?
Yeah, sure.
Like them?
Oh, they're all right.
Who's, Arnold Israel?
Israel? Oh, he's one of those custom-built internationals you see in the Road to Graveyard section every Sunday.
Oh. Well, give us a kiss now.
Say, will you lay off those European liberties with my wife?
Oh, come on, Tubby.
Telegraph office, please. Hello? This is Samuel Dodsworth speaking. Take a cable going to Mrs. Dodsworth. Same address as my last. Ready? Sailing Aquitania Wednesday. Meet me, Ritz, Paris. Love. Signed, Sam. And take another. Going to A.B. Hurd Agency, London. Sailing Aquitania Wednesday. Stop. using utmost discretion, ascertain day-to-day address of Arnold Israel, Paris. Keep me informed, wireless. Signed, Dodsworth. Yes, send them both straight. Yes, repeat them, will you? Well, Fran, this looks natural.
The street was as cool as anything in Paris, so I took it again.
You must be tired from your trip. How long is it from here to Lake Geneva?
Oh, I've come further than that. I've come from Biarritz.
Oh, Biarritz, huh?
Yes. I was alone, of course. What are you looking at, Sam?
Did I remember to write you that I adore you?
Well, I know. I don't believe you did. Do you? Why do you keep looking at your watch?
I'm expecting a caller.
This time of night? Who?
At Cherbourg, I sent a man a telegram to meet me here. He's late. I'll give him 10 minutes more.
You're very mysterious. I've never seen you like this before.
No? I've never seen you like this either, Fran.
Well, if we've got to stay here in this trifling room, how is Emily?
Very happy. She's going to have, Now, wait a minute. I'll answer.
I'll wait in the bedroom.
No, I'd rather you stay. Sit steady. Sit down, darling. Come in.
Arnold.
Good evening.
Fran, I tried to reach you on the telephone to let you know I was coming.
And you came from Biarritz, too, didn't you? I wanted to see you two face to face. Now, I know the whole story.
I never heard anything so outrageous in my life. Suppose Arnold was in Switzerland. What if he was in Biarritz? Do you know how insulting you are?
You don't know how insulting I'm going to be if you don't quit this play acting.
Play acting?
Now, I know where you've been, and I know who you've been with. What I want to know is, are you coming home with me as my wife or staying here in Europe?
Sam.
You wouldn't put matters so bluntly if you understood, Dodsworth.
Now, I understand. I'm sure that you and Kurt and Madame de Penable have given her things she wanted and never got from me. But I'm interested in what I need and want. And that happens to be peace of mind.
But if you bring yourself to see matters reasonably...
I've crossed the Atlantic Ocean to be reasonable. Fran, I've loved you and been married to you for 20 years. I'd like to hang on to you if I can. You want to marry each other? Well?
My dear man.
No, we don't.
You want to divorce me, then?
I can tell you she does not.
Is that true, Fran?
Why should I want to divorce you? You're my husband, aren't you?
Couldn't very well divorce me if I weren't.
Oh, you can laugh.
Yes, I can do worse than that.
This much having been cleared up, what have you to suggest?
That Fran and I try and forget what's happened. Start out on a long hike tomorrow. The Tyrol, Italy, any place. And sail back home in October.
Oh, no. Sam, no, not just yet.
And you'll have to divorce me or I'll divorce you.
Sam.
I told you where I stand.
You're trying to take my youth away from me and tie me down to being an old man's wife.
You've got your choice.
You're trying to take my happiness away from me, the only romantic happiness I've ever known.
Fran, please, that was unnecessary.
Listen, I didn't call you in here to defend me.
It's too ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Certainly it's ridiculous. I knew we'd all end by looking like fools.
I'll go now, if you'll excuse me.
Sure, I'll excuse you.
I hope you achieve your peace of mind. Good night.
Good night. Now, Fran, I'm going to see this thing through if it can be done. I'm ready to wipe the slate clean if you are.
When do we start? Where do we go?
Anywhere you like, till we go back home in October.
Zenith in October.
No, you'll be wanting to go home. Emily's having a baby in October.
Emily? A baby? She didn't tell me.
No, she left that to me.
How is she? Is she well?
Oh, yeah, she's fine.
I must send her a cable. Think of Emily having a
baby. So you see, we've got to behave ourselves because we'll be a couple of old grandparents in October.
Grandparents.
Station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. Dodsworth with Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland is resumed shortly. Tonight's glimpse of backstage Hollywood focuses on costumes. At 20th Century Fox Studios, they're making a film called Alibaba Goes to Town. In it, Eddie Cantor, the star, wears a red turban. Before that turban was made, More than 50 shades of red silk were photographed. Yet when you see the picture, you won't be able to tell if the turban is red, green, or blue. You may wonder why the studio went to all this bother, and why the clothes bill on $1 million production will often exceed $100,000. Answering your questions is the only man connected with a major studio who not only supervises the making of costumes, but is responsible also for creating the styles from which they're fashioned. At present, he's working on 14 major productions. The head stylist and wardrobe manager of 20th Century Fox, Arthur M. Levy.
Thanks, Mr. DeMille. We went through all that trouble on Eddie Cantor's turban because if we didn't get the right color, you would see on the screen an ugly shade of gray. That's how revealing a modern picture camera is. Our costumes must pass screen tests before they are used in a picture. Only after they've been tested on the star and shown in the projection room are we satisfied that fit and color combinations are correct.
I recently found a man who does nothing but wrap turbans for the movie. He's Bhagwan Singh, a Hindu, who makes a good living wrapping turbans according to the social or religious position of the wearer.
Yes, Bhagwan saved the wardrobe department time and embarrassment on such pictures as Wee Willie Winky and Lives of a Bengal Lancer. Other time savers are the dummies in our fitting rooms that are made to the exact proportions of individual players. The dimensions are changed from time to time as the star loses or gains in weight, and the first fittings are made on them. But our biggest worry is keeping abreast of production, avoiding delays that might hold up the actual shooting of a picture. One of our ways of overcoming this is to have a staff of cleaners and laundry people working every night, getting today's wardrobe in shape for its use again tomorrow. Because of the terrific speed at which we work, we've become one of Lux's biggest customers in Hollywood. Lux flakes clean not only well, but fast. We can depend on them to have things ready and up to our exacting requirements in a minimum of time. And Lux is perfectly safe for even the finest washable materials. We must use the best materials not only for appearance's sake, but because of the months of hard use they get during production.
We've provided against emergencies in the Buccaneer by having duplicates made of every important costume, in case they should be torn or damaged.
We do that, too. Our film in Old Chicago has a scene in which Tyrant Power runs through the city streets during the historic fire. He falls down, rips his clothing, is splashed with mud and drenched in water. This scene was shot 4 times, and each time Tyrant had to start off fresh and untorn. We were prepared by having 6 duplicates of his entire wardrobe ready. The research work on that picture was very interesting. For example, the question arose as to what kind of a shield was worn by a Chicago policeman in 1854. Going to Chicago and checking the city files, we found the shield was made of copper. We also found out that it was from those copper shields that the slang term cop originated.
Before you leave, tell us what we'll all be wearing next season.
Well, since most of the style news we hear is all about women's clothes, here's a little advanced news for the men. Probably as a result of the Duke of Windsor's visit to the Austrian mountains, the Tyrol influence is a smart note on the screen and on the street. Suits and overcoats will be rough and homespun. You'll see plenty of color. There'll be reverse calf shoes, heavily stitched and with square toes. Felt hats will have heavy cords and large feathers. And gloves, sweaters, socks, and scarves will feature the Tyrolean hand-knitted peasant pattern. But don't worry, gentlemen. Your wives will probably pick out your clothes anyway.
Good night. Once again, Walter Huston and Nan Sunderland in the Sinclair Lewis drama, Dodsworth. October, and Fran Dodsworth and Sam are still in Europe. It's early evening as we find them standing at the window of their hotel room in Berlin, gazing into the faintly luminous darkness. Fran breaks a long silence.
I love Berlin. Don't you, Sammy?
I love you, Fran.
Oh, Sam, darling. Will you let me thank you for all the lovely places you've taken me? I'm so heedless and silly that I don't speak of it as often as I should. But I'm terribly grateful inside of me, Sam, darling.
Have I won you back for my wife, Fran?
Yes, Sam. By not being a Tartar husband. By letting me have fun with that nice little court and not thinking I'm a hussy. By helping me to forget Arnold Israel. Sam, haven't you anything to say to me?
Well, what is it to say?
Well, after I've just opened my heart to you, it's a little embarrassing for you to stand there and say nothing. It makes me feel self-conscious.
Self-conscious? I guess that's my trouble, Fran. I've lost my bearings. I don't know where we're heading. I think I'll call up Emily and hear how the baby got through his first day.
But there isn't time. Kurt's coming to take us out to dinner, and you're not even dressed.
Kurt can wait.
It isn't polite. And, Sam, I know how thrilled you are over Emily's baby, but you mustn't tell Kurt.
Why not?
Because he thinks of me as young, and I am.
Fran. Come in.
Hello.
Hello, Kurt.
Well, is that wife of yours ready for us, Sam? I take you to a new restaurant for dinner. A very gay restaurant where only the smartest Berliners know to go. And dance after?
If you can make Sam get dressed.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't feel like getting dressed. No, I guess I'll let you two go along without me.
Oh, no, Sam. You must come with us.
What fun do you think it is for me to sit up all night watching you two dance?
Oh, do not speak so closely, Sam. You should be happy to see Fern happy.
Oh, I didn't mean to snap. No, I just got some rather important news from home.
News?
Sam.
No, nothing that would interest you, Kurt. I'd like to sit by myself and think it over.
Perhaps Sam does want to be left alone tonight. But I want to go out. I want to.
All right, go ahead, Kurt. You and Fran run along. I'll be all right.
Come in, Kurt. I can't go to bed tonight. I've been having too much fun.
I do not like coming in here so late. I do not think Sam would like it.
Sam's dead to the world. Don't talk loud, that's all.
But, Fran, dear...
Please, Kurt. Let poor little Fran have her fun while she can. There isn't much time left.
Oh, darling, Fran.
Kurt.
You know I love you, Fran. You know that. Have you not been happy with me here in Berlin?
Oh, yes, I've been terribly happy. I've loved it, Kurt. You know I have.
I think you could love me, Fran. I think you could.
But there's no good talking about that. There's nothing we can do about it, is there?
No. You are married to Sam. I can't ask you to be my wife.
Kurt, you want to marry me?
Does that surprise you? Oh, Fran, why are you not free?
If I were free, Kurt?
Oh, my darling.
Don't. Please don't.
Forgive me.
I'm not angry. Oh, my dear.
Will you not say a more kind word, Fran?
Some other time.
Will you let me kiss you good night?
Oh, Kurt. Good night, Kurt.
Good night, Fran.
If I were free. Sam.
Oh, hello, Fran. I didn't know you'd come in.
I didn't know you were awake. I'm sorry.
Pretty late. Not that I mind.
No? Well?
Wait, Fran. I've been looking at the ceilings. How about it, Fran? Let's get out of this.
Sam, please. Why are you always so anxious to go home? I'm sick of it.
I'm taking no more chances on another Arnold Israel. Now, I know this friendship for Kurt is harmless enough, but you might get fascinated.
You think I might? You really think I might? Well, I love Kurt, and he loves me, and I'm going to marry him. I've decided it only just now, this minute, since I found that you were listening at the door. The great Dodsworth, great prowling elephant.
Fran.
I'm sorry Kurt didn't stay to punch your head for spying in on us.
I wasn't spying. I didn't
You've never known anything about me, not what I had on, nor what I thought, nor the sacrifices I made.
Look out now.
I'll be happy with Kurt. I'm fighting for life. You can't drag me back.
Fran! All right. Can you get your divorce here?
What?
Your divorce?
Oh. Yes, I think so.
We should wait a few months.
Why?
Well, I'd like you to feel absolutely sure about Kurt.
It's my funeral now, isn't it?
Yes, I guess so. I'll have to get used to that idea. I guess I can.
American Express office, Naples branch. Yes, senor. I will attend to it.
Hello? Any mail for Dodsworth?
Oh, hello. No, not a thing today, Mr. Dodsworth.
Well, I guess I'll have to wait a few days. Maybe I'll get a pleasant surprise. What have you got in the line of excursions today?
Well, we have a tourist party just starting for Herculaneum and Pompeii.
No, I've been there.
Oh, I see. Well, there's a drive around Amalfi and Sorrento.
Been there, too.
Would you like Paestum, sir?
What's Paestum?
Greek temple, sir. In excellent preservation.
Well, that's more than I am. All right, I'll take a chance. Get me a car.
How many in the party, sir?
One.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dodsworth.
Hmm?
Do you remember me?
Mrs. Courtright. Well, isn't this great?
Oh, sit down if you've got a moment.
Well, time is something I've got nothing else but.
And how is Mrs. Dodsworth?
She's fine, thanks. I haven't got her along with me this trip.
Oh, she doesn't like traveling?
Does anybody?
Well, I don't know.
I suspect that most people travel to get away from themselves.
Well, I've been at it 2 months now. I'm glad to hear why.
Alone?
Oh, I'm getting used to it now.
Well, I don't want to intrude or be impertinent, but... Well, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess it's a pretty ordinary story. My wife's younger than I am and livelier. I happen to be undressing in public like this. I never did that before.
Will you keep on traveling now?
Yes, I've got to stay over and be on hand for the divorce.
Where?
Berlin.
I see. Could you let yourself enjoy life for a while?
Show me how.
I wonder if you could.
Well, none of this that's happened to me was my idea.
Well, then, why don't you break away from your hotels? Forget about Berlin and move out to me.
Out to you?
Is that where I live at Posilippo? Oh, it may be straining our slight acquaintance, and I can't make you as comfortable as your hotel does. When you want a bath, you'll have to choose between a tin tub and the Mediterranean. But if you like swimming and fishing and a willing listener...
Well, that's awfully kind of you, Mrs. Courtright, and mighty friendly, but well, I don't see how I could.
Why not?
Well, what did your neighbors say?
They'd say any number of things.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean they'd be right. They won't be. Oh, come along. We can bolster each other up. And I'm certain you'll need a little peace of mind.
This is la Villa Cotorita. Cosa dice? Cosa dice? Forte. Non ti comprendo, addio.
Who was that, Teresa?
Oh, someone she called. I not here, so goodbye.
Hello there.
Hello, Sam. You been out fishing with Pietro again?
Yeah, I'm going to try out this new fishing tackle later. I want to show him a few Florida tricks I know.
Listen, there's one of those horrible putt-putt motors.
Yeah, Pietro and I put it in the boat this morning.
What? In that beautiful little sailboat?
Sure, Pietro's crazy about it. And you just watch that boat beat the rest of the fishing ground.
Sam, you're hopeless.
Don't be hard on me, Edith. Setting up that motor's the first real fun I've had since I quit business, and it's got me raring to go all over again for the first time.
To go? You mean away from here?
Any place where I can get back in harness. Think I'll try aviation this time. The idea of a Moscow to Seattle airline kind of strikes me.
Moscow to Seattle?
Yeah, might be the first man with his own round-the-world system. Say, I know what we'll do. We'll make a little preliminary survey. Where's that map? I'll buy my own plane, and the day after the divorce comes in, we'll both go on a trip.
We, Sam? Are you going to take me with you?
Sure. Look, Siberia. Branch line from Irkutsk to Tashkent or Samarkand. Tough going for you, though, in one little suitcase.
Sam, I'll go through life with you on one suitcase if you'll give me the chance.
Edith, I've spent 1 short month with you in this house, and I can't imagine ever living without you again.
Couldn't live without you, Sam.
Signor Dodsworth. Bellino.
Bellino. All right, get in. Hello? Hello? Yes, Fran, yes. This is Sam. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, when are you sailing? Well, I guess I'll have to. No, that's all right. Very well. Get the tickets. Goodbye. Well, Kurt has chucked her over. She's dropping the divorce. Going home on the Ultima day after tomorrow. I've got to go with her.
I won't let you.
Well, what else can I do?
I won't see you killed by her selfishness. I love you and she doesn't. You're content with me. You're miserable with her.
I know, Edith, I know.
You were a young man a minute ago. You've shriveled at the sound of her voice.
Everything's starting up all over again.
I've seen you shrivel the same way. Every letter you've got from her.
I can't think.
You're all wrong to go back.
She needs me.
So do I. Oh, but that isn't all. Think of the Moscow and Seattle line.
I know, Edith. I know every bit of it. You've just got to be patient with me.
What is this hold she's got over you?
I've got to take care of her. Man's habits get pretty strong in 20 years. I'll go pack now.
I'll send Teresa to help you. Oh, Sam.
Edith, it's giving you up that's the hell of it.
5 minutes.
Stewart, bring me a brandy and soda.
10 minutes before sailing. You might have asked me if I want anything, Sam.
Do you, friend?
No. But if I've got to sit here in this icebox they call a bar, you've got to shut that door.
Very well.
It's a cold morning, and I'm not dressed for draught. I didn't expect to have to sit practically out of doors in the middle of winter.
All right, go on. You were saying, friend.
What? Oh, yes. You were so right about Kurt, Sammy dear.
I can't think how you guessed it, because you aren't usually so awfully good at judging character. His family may be as old as the Colosseum, but when I saw his mother, my dear, what a frump.
Don't.
What's the matter with you?
Don't ride Kurt and his mother that way, that's all.
I'm sorry. I'll be good. Though I shouldn't have expected you to defend them.
No, I suppose not.
Well, I know how you always let bygones be bygones. It's such a wonderfully happy ending to all our wild little escapades, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it?
Sam, will you look at that hat that woman has on, and will you regard her shoes? Oh, but wait until you see some of the clothes I've got. I'll show Zenith something. Maybe it will wake up a little. You seem rather distrait, Sam.
Do I? Well, maybe I don't like your riding Zenith that way either.
I don't seem to be able to strike a congenial note. I do think you might meet me halfway. As I look back, though, I don't blame myself. I can't, really. You were a good deal at fault, too. There are sins of omission, Sammy dear.
Stuart.
Yes, sir?
Take this check. Go to Suite 7 on B deck, get the suitcase with this number on it, and bring it here.
Yes, sir.
What's the idea, Sam?
I'm not sailing with you.
You're not sailing?
No, I'm not. No,
Sam.
you're trying to put it tactfully.
Sam.
We just can't make a go of things any longer.
You haven't learned a thing, not a single thing out of all our sorrows. And I've been flattering myself that you really wanted to come back to me.
I tried, didn't I? But I'm through. Finished, and that's flat.
What's going to become of me?
I don't know. You'll have to stop getting younger someday. Sorry, goodbye.
Are you going back to that washed-out ex-patriot in Naples?
Yes, and when I get my divorce, I'm going to marry her, and she and I are going on doing things.
Do you think you'll ever get me out of your blood?
I don't know. Maybe not, but love has got to stop someplace short of suicide.
Sam! Sam, come back here! Come back, Sam!
Edith! Edith, where are you? Edith, I'm here. It's me, Sam. It's Sam.
Sam, you're back.
Yes, you bet I'm back.
Oh, Sam, what happened?
Nothing. Everything.
Did you miss the boat?
Yes, and I'm going on missing it. I'm going to spend the rest of my life just missing boats.
Oh, darling, you're going to stay. You're here to stay.
Yeah, you just try and get rid of me.
So ends the last chapter of Dodsworth. I know you want to hear from Walter Huston and Anne Sunderland, and they'll take their curtain call in a moment. First, a word from Melville Ruick. Thank you, Mr. DeMille. Before Mr. DeMille introduces our stars, may I leave this thought with the ladies. These days, you're probably getting some new clothes for fall and winter, and some new stockings in subtle shades to blend with the new colors. Naturally, you want those stockings to look just as nice each time you wear them as they do right now. That is where Lux comes in. Lux flakes are especially made to protect your stockings. They save the elasticity, you know, cut down on runs. So why not ensure the subtle flattery of those new stockings with Lux? Our producer, Mr. DeMille. For 8 years, Walter Huston and Anne Sunderland have always appeared together. So tonight's performance had an added distinction, in that it was their last co-starring vehicle, at least for a while.
That's true, C.B. But in case Walter Winchell is listening in, let me add that everything is all right.
In fact, everything was never better. Here's what's happening. First, Walter has a picture to do at MGM. Benefits forgot. The story of the time of Abraham Lincoln.
Are you playing Lincoln again, Walter?
No, I guess I'm one of those very few actors having once played Lincoln were able to get away from the role. This time I'm a circuit rider, a preacher. And while I'm making the picture, Nan goes to New York for her play.
Which is also historical. It is Sidney Harmon's production of Robin Landing and goes all the way back to 1785.
Well, Nan, good luck. Around Christmas time, I expect to open on Broadway in Mr. Tut. You know Mr. Tut, C.B.? He's that long-haired lawyer and fisherman that Arthur Train writes about. You see, I'm getting in training already. How do you like the hair?
Well, I was about to suggest that a nice permanent wouldn't hurt at all.
So have a lot of people. Even our brand-new dachshund, Frawley, and barks at me now. But it's strictly for art's sake.
Well, long hair or short, come back to us again, Walter, as soon as your play's through. And you, Nan, just remember that the latch string will be out and the footlights will be on for you in the Lux Radio Theater always.
Thank you very much, C.B. Whether we're with you as performers or listeners, there are few things that give us more genuine pleasure than this program.
And we really mean that.
Yes.
Good luck to you all, and good night.
Good night. Monday night, the Lux Radio Theater presents the human scene in one of its more dramatic phases. And while rash promises are best avoided, I believe we can safely say that our production next Monday night will bring you one of your most enjoyable hours. Our play, The Unforgettable Stella Dallas, which Samuel Goldwyn has so recently presented to America. And what is especially good news, we'll have the same magnificent stars as the picture: Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, and Anne Shirley. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Stella Dallas with Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, and Anne Shirley. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, Melville Ruiz. In tonight's cast were Harlan Briggs as Tubby, Martha Wentworth as Madame de Penab, Hugh Huntley as Lockhart, Frank Nelson as Kurt, Gretchen Thomas as Matey, Lou Merrill as travel agent, Margaret Brayton as woman, and James Eagles as page boy. Mr. DeMille appeared through courtesy of Paramount Pictures and Louis Silver's 20th Century Fox Studios, where he was in charge of music for the new film, Life Begins in College. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
From Hollywood, California, the Lux Radio Theater presents Stella Dallas with Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, Anne Shirley, and Barbara O'Neill.
Lux presents Hollywood. It is your loyalty to Lux Toilet Soap that makes this program possible, which tonight stars Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, Anne Shirley, and Barbara O'Neill in Samuel Goldwyn's superlative screen production, Stella Dallas. You will also hear T. Keith Glennon, operations manager of Paramount Studios, and music under the direction of Louis Silvers. And now, the producer of the Lux Radio Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. With this presentation, the Lux Radio Theater becomes 3 years old. During this week in 1934, we first went on the air, and by coincidence, John Boles was our leading man then, as he is tonight. For our stars, as well as for us, the past year has been an outstanding one. It's been Mr. Boles' busiest and most successful year on the screen. Anne Shirley has acquired stardom and a husband, and Barbara Stanwyck has at last come into her own through her magnificent performance as Stella Dallas, which she repeats tonight. I know of no one in Hollywood who merits success more than Barbara. Born in a poor section of Brooklyn, she lost both parents while still a child. Living with 10 different families, whichever would take her in, she never knew what a home was. At 13, she was earning her own living as a clerk. 2 years later, she was a dancer, and her first glimpse of success came with a stage role from David Belasco, who changed her name from Ruby Stevens to Barbara Stanwyck. Now on top, Barbara can at last indulge a lifelong ambition. She's purchased a farm in the San Fernando Valley and will spend her off-screen life raising horses. Our story was written 15 years ago by Olive Higgins Prouty and was brought to the screen by my partner of 25 years ago, Samuel Goldwyn. As in the film, we hear Mr. Boles as Stella Dallas, as Stephen Dallas, Anne Shirley as Lowell, Barbara O'Neill as Helen Morrison, and, of course, Barbara Stanwyck as Stella Dallas. And now one of the year's greatest pictures comes to the air. The Lux Radio Theater presents Stella Dallas with Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, and Anne Shirley. The year is 1919, and our scene is Main Street, in the little manufacturing town of Millhampton, Massachusetts. It's 10 o'clock Sunday evening, and the picture at the Bijou Movie Palace has just finished. In the crowd, drifting out through the lobby, is Stephen Dallas, assistant manager of the town's factory. And at his side, walking as close to him as she dares, is Stella Martin. Stella looks happy and very proud as the mill hands greet their young executive.
Evening, Mr. Dallas.
Evening, Joe.
Hello, boy.
How are you, Harry?
How do, Mr. Dallas? Hello, Stella.
That's the second time this week I phoned to together in the drugstore the other night. You mind your own business. Oh, dear. I'm sorry, Mr. Dallas.
Oh, come on now. You've got to get home. Do you mind our being talked about, Stella?
Mind? I mind? Oh, no, it's just that... Well, I can't believe you like seeing me when you could be out with all the swell.
Oh, but I want to be with you. I like being with you.
Oh, could I take your arm? I mean, is that all right? Is that considered...
Well, of course it is.
Oh, I hope you don't mind my asking those things. It's just that I want to be like all the people you've been around. Educated, you know, and speaking nice, and then
Now, don't be like anyone else. I like you the way you are.
Oh, but I've wanted to be different ever since I met you, and if I was around you long enough, I could be. Why, I could learn to talk like you and act like you, and pretty soon well, you know, you've done a lot for me, even in these couple of weeks.
You've done a lot for me, too, Stella. I was very lonely the day you walked into my office.
Lonely?
Yes. I don't know how much you know about me, but...
Oh, I know your society. I mean,
you mean I used to be.
Yes, and your father died. I read about it in the newspaper.
Dad didn't die. He committed suicide, Stella.
Oh.
He went broke and he couldn't stand it. That's when I came here to start all over again. I guess that was in the papers, too.
Mr. Dallas.
Yes?
That girl, the one you were engaged to when...
Yes?
Wouldn't she wait for you?
She would, if I'd let her. But I couldn't do that, could I? She was married just 2 weeks ago.
Oh. She must have been very lovely.
Yes. Well, here we are.
I don't have to go in right away.
Cigarette?
No, thanks. I don't smoke and I don't drink either.
Oh, you're sweet, Stella. I was lonely and unhappy, then I'm not anymore, Stella. Stella.
Oh, please, I shouldn't have. You won't have any respect for me. Not for girls who let men kiss them whenever they want. I don't let men... I mean... Well, girls shouldn't unless they... Well, unless they know the man is serious.
Shall I tell you I am? Or shall I just kiss you again?
Oh, Stephen. Here it is in the paper. Stephen Dallas weds Mill Hanson girl. Gee, wouldn't you just know she'd hook the best? What do you know about this? Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Dallas were just admitted to membership in the River Club. Flying kind of high.
Are congratulating the Stephen Dallases on the birth of a new baby girl. Well, the popular new manager and Stella Martin were married a year ago.
We're home, Agnes. My, you sure is, honey. Who does she look like? Let me see who. Oh, let the nurse take her inside, Agnes. You'll have plenty of time for that later on. Yes'm. This here way, Miss Nurse.
Sit down, honey.
Oh, gosh. Home never looked so good to me.
Oh, poor Stella.
Oh, I didn't mind it. It was just a hospital got on my nerves. And that darn doctor trying to make me stay another week.
Oh, but Stella, he just thought it would be better if...
Better for who? It was just to get your money. Stephen, what's all this on the table?
Mail, honey. You had a lot of friends who wanted to congratulate you.
Oh, Stephen, why didn't you bring them to me? The days wouldn't have seemed half so long. Oh, gosh, and I thought everybody had forgotten me. Stephen.
Yeah?
Look at this, an invitation to a dance at the River Club tomorrow night. I think I can wear my blue dress. I'll let it out a little at the top
now,
and then
Stella, you don't want to go dancing already?
Oh, why not? Before I went to the hospital, I was stuck in this house for 4 solid months without going anywhere. And we just got into the River Club. All my life, I've just about died to go to the real places and get in with the right crowd. And just when I get a chance and get started, I have to give it all up.
Oh, we'll go next time.
Well, I don't want to go next time. I want to go this time. Oh, Stephen, I won't dance much, I promise. Gee, I just want to get a wave and a manicure and get all dressed up again and go hear some music and forget all about doctors and hospitals and nurses.
And babies?
No, but... Oh, Stephen, please.
Now, Stella.
Oh, please.
Who is that dancing with Mrs. Dallas, Stephen? I really don't know. He's very good. Who is he, Joyce?
His name is Munn. He has something to do with horse racing. The girls invite him over for golf, and he gives them tips.
Oh, I see.
Why, you're a wonderful dancer, Mr. Munn.
Well, if I'm any judge of horseflesh, you don't take a mean leg yourself. Say, how did you come to get hooked up to that crowd at your table?
Oh, there's some business friend of my husband.
Business friend?
Uh-huh.
What is he, an undertaker? Say, Stella, why don't you get him to ditch that bunch of mothbacks and come over and join us?
Spencer Chandler's table? Why, we don't even know it.
Well, that won't take long. Do you know what he said after our first dance?
No, what?
He said, Ed, he always calls me Ed.
Uh-huh.
He said, Ed, you can pick winners on a dance floor better than you can at a racetrack.
Yeah? Oh, go on. Don't red apple me.
Oh, no, on the level. Come on, I'll prove it to you.
Wait, I'd have to ask Stephen first.
Oh, forget it. Hey, Spence.
Sit down, Munn.
Spence, I want you to meet a friend of mine. Stella, Mr. Chandler, Mrs. Dallas.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Say, Spence, I want you to prove something to her for me. Didn't you say I could pick him on a dance floor as good as I can on the track?
Yes, but I wouldn't feel too flattered, Mrs. Dallas. Munn hasn't given me a winner in over a month. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Or would you rather dance?
Why, yes, I guess I would.
Fine. Well, Stella.
Oh, Stephen, come here. Stephen, this is Mr. Munn.
Pleased to meet you.
And Mr. Spencer Chandler.
How do you do? How do you do?
Mr. Chandler just asked me to dance. You don't mind.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chandler. My wife's just out of the hospital. She ought to be home in bed. And that's where she's going.
We'll hurry then. Come on, Mr. Chandler.
Stella.
Say, Dallas, you wouldn't like to sit down and have a little snifter, would you?
No, thank you. Go ahead, dear.
Thank you. Well, you can start the lecture now that we're home. What have I done this time? Go ahead, begin.
Stella, I asked you not to wear those earrings and that cheap imitation necklace. You took them off, you agreed, and after we got there, you came out of the dressing
Now,
room.
Stephen, I'm perfectly willing to let you tell me how to act, but please don't give me pointers on how to dress. Allow me at least to know more about one thing than you do. After all, I've always been known to have stacks of style. You should have heard Ed Munn, and he's been around a bit, too. He's traveled further, and he's a...
Al.
All right, then, Father, whichever it is, I don't care. Gosh, I have to think twice every time I open my mouth. And Spencer Chandler didn't seem to have to turn the other way either. And he only happens to be one of the Chandlers.
Stella, please, don't say things like that. Remember, you're my wife now.
Oh, and can't look at another man.
That isn't the point at all.
Oh, that's a laugh. An affair between Spencer Chandler and I. Well, I am coming up in the world.
Stella, won't you try to understand? The fake jury is not important. None of these things matter in themselves. But what's to become of us? That is important.
Yes, Stephen.
Stella, why did you marry me?
Oh, because I was crazy about you, silly, and I still am, only you just don't seem to ever
Once, a long time ago, you said you were crazy to learn everything, become someone, didn't you?
Yes, Stephen.
Please listen to me. I'm only telling you this because I love you. Stella, the firm wants to send me to New York to handle the sales department there. I want to go, and I want to take you with me. But I want you to make an effort. I want you to try to be, well, what you wanted to be. Give up a few things for me and try to adapt yourself.
Adapt myself? Give up a few things? Well, what have I been doing ever since I met you? And I'm getting a little sick of it, too. How would it be for you to do a little adapting for a change? I don't see you giving up anything. And I'll tell you one more thing. I'm not going to New York. I'm certainly not going to leave here just when I'm beginning to get in with the right people.
Now, Stella...
You go on and go to New York. I'm going to stay here. Hey, cut it out. Oh, here, I'll feed you myself.
She sure is getting big. Cute, too.
Isn't she? You know, Carrie, I used to think girls at the mill were crazy when they got married and right off the bat started having kids.
But, honest, Stella, would you want any more?
Sure, if I could have another one like her. Gee, she's been a regular pal to me. You know, since Stephen's been away in New York so much, I hardly know I have a husband. Why, he's only been home 3 times this summer. And then it was only on account of her. He's crazy about her. And who wouldn't be? Now, who's that? Edna? Oh, where is that girl? All right.
Hi!
Why, Ed Munn!
Well, is that all the welcome I get?
Ed, of all people! Gosh, I'm glad to see you.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
Come on in.
Thanks. Stella, this is my friend Charlie. You remember Charlie?
Yeah, hi. Come on inside. Hey, Carrie, look who's here. Well, for heaven's sake!
Hello, Carrie!
Hello, Ed. Hello, Charlie.
Hi. Well, will you get a load of that kid? Has she grown or am I crazy?
Oh, Lolly, darling. You remember Uncle Ed, don't you?
Well, I remember you.
You want something to drink, Ed?
Sure. And if you don't mind, I'll peel this coat.
Yeah, go ahead. You still play the piano, Charlie?
Yeah, I guess so. Say, where you been hiding, Still? I haven't seen you.
Oh, gosh, Ed, I haven't been out of this house for 2 months.
Huh? You been sick?
No, but... Oh, I don't know. I don't seem to get any fun out of a good time anymore. All the time I'm out, I'm thinking of her and what she's doing and how soon I can get back to her.
Well, here's hoping I'll always be around at the right time.
Oh.
Say, can I pick the kid up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. Come on, dear Uncle Ed. That's a girl, Laurel. Come on. Well, what's the matter? Ain't you got a great big smile?
Oh, of course she has. Come on, darling. Smile for Uncle Ed. Come on. Come on, Lolly, darling. Smile.
Look at those noses.
Edna! Mrs. Dallas, ma'am. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Stella.
Oh, you remember Mr. Munn.
How do you do?
And Carrie Jenkins?
Oh, how do you do?
How do you do?
Well, I think I'll be getting along.
Oh, all right.
That's a fine baby you got there, Mr. Dallas.
Thank you, I think so.
I gotta be going too, Ed.
Me too. Just a minute, I'll see you to the door.
Forget it. We won't get lost. Well, so long, Stella.
Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Brown.
Well, Stephen, sit down.
Stella, I can't have our child living this way.
Oh, what's wrong this time?
It's not just this time. It's every time I come.
What do you mean? Because it was a couple of drinks? Well, what's wrong with that? Coming in here with that icebergy way of yours.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude, but she's my child, too, and I won't have this. I haven't wanted to take Laurel away from you, but if
Take her away from me? What are you talking about?
Here, darling, come to your
How
daddy.
dare you say such a thing? Give it to me.
Stella,
Give it to me, I say.
Stella, please, you mustn't do this.
Get out of here.
Stella.
Get out, I say. Oh, did he frighten Mommy's little girl? Don't you cry. Mommy's right here. Mommy won't let anybody hurt you. Yes. Oh, darling. You're here with Mommy, and nobody in the whole world is ever going to take you away. Nobody.
Before continuing with Act 2 of our play here in the Lux Radio Theater, let's drop in for a moment at the publicity office out at one of the major studios. A publicity man is in conference with a very charming young lady, one of Hollywood's leading fashion editors.
You mean girls are going to look more girlish than boys this year?
Yes, that's it exactly. For instance, they're using richer furs, and the lines of coats and dresses flow more. They're more graceful. The whole idea is to create a softer effect.
Oh, I think that's a lot of rot. Men don't want women to be soft anymore. They want them to be able to take it.
That may be so, but they do want them to look soft. They want women to wear pretty clothes, keep their hair nicely waved, and to have lovely, soft skin. You men are very demanding, you know.
You're certainly right on complexion. I saw a woman around here yesterday. She had beautiful clothes. Even the hat wasn't bad. But I couldn't go for that complexion.
I feel awfully sorry for a woman like that. If she'd only known about Lux toilet soap.
You hear plenty about Lux soap around here. Most all our stars use it. Evidently you think it's pretty good, too.
I certainly do. It's the best way I know of to guard against cosmetic skin. You know, actually lots of women ruin their own looks. They don't remove dirt and stale cosmetics from their pores thoroughly.
Well, we use that soap out home. You know, it works up a swell lather even in hard water.
I know, and it's an active lather that keeps pores from getting choked. And if 9 out of 10 screen stars say that, well, that's the way to keep your complexion soft and lovely. That's all the recommendation I need to use Lux toilet soap, too.
Now, Mr. DeMille. We continue Stella Dallas, starring Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, Anne Shirley, and Barbara O'Neill. 12 years have passed, during which Stephen Dallas and Stella have been living apart. A few days before Laurel's 13th birthday, Stephen is standing at the book counter of a New York department store. Nearby, a well-dressed woman and her 3 small sons are examining the contents of the toy counter. The woman is Helen Morrison, the girl to whom Stephen was once engaged. She turns toward him suddenly, and their eyes meet with a look of pleased recognition.
Stephen.
Helen.
Oh, Stephen.
I'm so glad to see you.
Oh, and you. Oh, boys, come here, come, please. Stephen, these are my sons.
How do you do, young gentlemen?
How do you do? Oh, this is Mr. Dallas, whom your mother has known for such a long time. John.
How do you do?
Lee.
Lee.
How do you do?
And Cornelius.
Cornelius?
How do you do? Con. He doesn't like to be called Cornelius.
I do, too.
It was my father's name.
Was?
Oh, Con is the man of the family now, and he looks after us all so beautifully. His father would be very proud.
That's splendid. Nothing but the finest care in the world would be good enough for your mother.
But, Stephen, tell us about you. What are you doing here?
Well, if you mean New York, I'm in business here. If you mean the store, I'm here buying birthday presents for my daughter.
Your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Stephen.
Wait a minute. I have a picture here of her. Here it is.
Oh, she's lovely. When may we meet her? And her mother?
They're not here. You see, Laurel goes to school up near Boston, and her mother spends all of her time with her.
Oh, well, I have so many things to hear and to tell. Can you have lunch with us?
Well, I should be back at the office by now.
Oh.
We'd be glad to have you, Mr. Dallas, if you don't mind carrying your own tray.
John's been saving up for a whole month in order to take us out for lunch.
Really?
It's his treat.
How about it, Mr. Dallas?
Yes, Steve.
Well, I guess I can't refuse an offer like that.
No.
Oh, Mr. Dallas.
Come on, fellas. If you run short, John, I'll lend you a couple of dollars.
Gee, thanks.
Careful now, don't mash the ruffles. Stand still so I can fit it to you.
Oh, I love the color. It's a beautiful dress, Mommy.
Yeah. Now, I forgot this goes here on the waist.
Flowers? Oh, no.
Oh, yes, it gives it some snap.
Oh, please.
Oh, Lolly, for heaven's sake, you're just like your father. You want everything as plain as an old shoe.
Plain with all these beautiful handmade ruffles. Oh, just you wait till Dad sees it. He always notices my dresses.
Yeah? Oh, what did he say in his letter? Anything?
Just that he's expecting me during vacation, and we're going to have more fun than last time, he says, because we're going visiting.
Where?
Oh, I guess you know her, too, an old friend, Mrs. Morrison.
Morrison?
You do know her.
Not me. Take off the dress and let me get to work on it.
Watch out for the pin.
Come on now, pull it over your head.
What's going on in there?
Come on in, Ed.
No, Mother, wait till I get out.
Molly.
Say, what is this, the Follies dressing
Mother,
room?
please.
Oh, what's the matter?
You shouldn't see me like this.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Ed's known you since you were knee-high.
Yeah, and even less than that. Now, what have you got to hide from your Uncle Ed? Come on, give us a kiss.
Mother, make him stop,
Ed,
please.
stop.
Come on now, come on.
No, let me alone. Let me alone.
Oh, Ed, I wish you wouldn't tease her like that. You know she don't like it.
Yeah, I know. But I get a kick out of a young one being so finicky.
Well, is your car downstairs?
Huh? Oh, no, it's in the shop. Why?
Oh, I wanted to go to town. I wanted to get the decorations for Laura's party.
Well, why not go in on a train? I'll tell you. We'll take the kids, see a show, and have dinner.
No, I don't want her to know what I'm getting.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess I could show you a better time without her.
Ed.
Oh, gosh, Stella. We have a lot of laughs, don't we?
Oh, I got a pain from it.
Say, Stella.
What?
Stella, why don't you scratch that first entry of yours and give somebody else a chance? Honest, I'd do anything in the world.
Please don't, Ed. It's like I told you. It's not personal, only Well, I don't think there's a man living that could get me going anymore. Oh, I don't know. I guess Lolly just uses up all the feelings I got, and I don't seem to have any left for anybody else.
You got plenty for me, Stella.
Why can't we go on as we are? Gosh, I don't know what I'd have done without you some of the times when Lolly was back with Stephen. You're You're such a good sport and such a lot of fun, but...
I guess you know what you're doing.
I guess I do, Ed.
Go back to school, dear.
The car's waiting, Laurel.
I'm ready. Let me have Laurel's bag, John. You'll drop it. I will
Oh,
not.
now, don't argue, John. She'll miss her train. Oh, goodbye, Laurel. It's been fun, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Morrison.
We'll be looking forward to your next visit.
I've had such a lovely time. I don't know how to thank you.
Oh, goodbye, dear.
Goodbye, Helen.
Oh, Daddy, aren't they the nicest boys?
I think so. How did you like Mrs. Morrison?
I think she's the loveliest lady I ever knew.
Do you, Laurel? Do you really?
Oh, I mean, of course I mean, except my mother.
Come on, Lolly. Oh, gee, it's good to have you home again.
Oh, I missed you too, Mom.
We'll leave the bag here for a while.
Oh, Gladys will take it.
Gladys? Oh, she's not here anymore. I let her go.
Mother.
Well, what did I need with a maid around?
Ah, Mommy, you shouldn't have.
Besides, I was glad to have something to do to help pass the time away. You know what I did, Lolly?
What?
I saved enough money out of her wages to pay a deposit on a fur coat for you.
Mother, you didn't.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're just going to get it right back. I don't want a fur coat, Mother. Besides, none of the girls I met at Mrs. Morrison's are allowed to have them yet.
Oh, no?
Uh-uh.
Oh.
Can I help you fix dinner, Mother?
Oh, sure. Come on.
I'll get an apron.
Say, tell me about this Mrs. Morrison. What's she like?
Oh, Mother, she's lovely. She's sort of, well, she reminds me of a flower that grows up in Maine. All pale and delicate, strong, too. I don't know what you call it.
Oh, gracious, Lolly, I don't care what kind of a flower she looks like. Is she tall or short, dark or light, fat or thin? How old is she?
Well, she doesn't seem to be any special age. You know, she's like one of those goddesses in my mythology book that way.
Oh, come on now. You can tell whether she's 20 or 40.
Oh, she's not 40. No. Well, I guess maybe she's about 25.
And, how did your father happen to meet this goddess?
No, Mother, it's like a story. Con told me all about it.
Con?
Uh-huh.
Is that her husband?
Oh, no, he's dead.
Dead, is he? Well, that's convenient.
Oh, no, it isn't. It isn't a bit convenient. Because when Mr. Morrison died, he left a whole lot of houses and horses and lots of money and things. And Mrs. Morrison has to look out for them all by herself. You know, she said she wouldn't know what to do without Father to help her and advise her.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
Oh, I just remembered. I've got some snapshots of her.
Oh, no, Lolly, I just want to look at you.
Oh, but, Mommy, I want you to see her. She's so beautiful.
Oh, Lolly.
You'll be crazy about
Oh,
it.
not now, Laura. We'll look at the snapshots after.
This is one of me and Con.
Yeah, hand me that bottle of hair bleach, will you?
Here. And look, this is Mrs. Morrison. You know, the funny thing about her is she's not only beautiful when she's all dressed up, but even when she wakes up in the morning.
Yeah? Well, with her money, she don't have to worry about her looks. Say, are those real pearls she's got slung around her neck?
Mommy, look what you're doing.
What?
You're getting the bleach all over her picture.
Oh, I didn't mean to, Lolly. I'm sorry.
Oh, give it to me. Give it to me.
Lolly, I'm sorry.
Oh, Mother.
Merry Christmas!
Oh, Daddy, I'm so glad to see you. Oh, please come in.
Where's your mother?
She's getting dressed. When she heard you were coming, Oh, here, let me take your coat.
Now, wait a minute. This package is for you.
Oh, thank you. I'll put it right under the tree.
Hey, that's a beautiful tree, all right. And a very beautiful young lady.
Do you like my dress? Mother copied it from one we saw in the window of a shop in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
You can hardly tell the difference.
It is pretty, isn't it?
It was my best present.
Oh,
Till you came, Dad.
You darling.
Stephen.
Well, Merry Christmas, Stella.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you, Stephen. Oh, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you.
Sit down.
Thank you. The place looks awfully nice, Stella.
You go to dinner with us?
Well, darling, I came to ask your mother a favor. Stella, I was wondering if you'd let me have Laurel for the holidays this time. I've never had a place for her before, but this time we have an invitation to spend it with the Morrisons.
Oh. Well, would you like to go, Lolly?
Yes. Oh, I mean, that is...
Oh, I think it would be lovely. When would you want us, Stephen?
Well, my train leaves in an hour, Stella. I was hoping I could take her back with me.
Today? Oh, no, not today. I couldn't, Father. Mother and I had something all planned.
Well, yes, we did, but, we could do that any time. All right, come on. We'll have to hurry. You go and start packing your things, darling, and I'll be right in.
Yes, Mother.
She won't be very long.
Stella, I'm awfully sorry. Well, when I see all you've done here, and you did have plans, I didn't realize it.
Oh, it wasn't anything really. We were just going to a show and dinner at the Bon Ton. Oh, this will be a real treat for us. Oh, it's been so long since I've seen you. How have you been?
Well, thank you. And you?
Oh, fine.
That's good.
It's too bad your train leaves so early.
Stella, I've been thinking. I don't know why it didn't occur to me before, but there's no earthly reason in the world why you should spend a day all alone just because I've been selfish and thoughtless. There must be a later train.
Oh.
Where's the telephone? Shall we call and see?
Oh, yes. Please. The phone's out here in the hall.
Let me see now. Well, here's the number. Beacon Hill 3700, please.
Hey. Ed.
I fooled you, didn't I? You put me out of the back way, and I went all the way around and came right in here.
Oh, Ed.
Say, listen, just where is all this company that I'm being kicked out because of? Because I'm going to tell you this. Oh, I beg your pardon, Mr. Dallas. I guess... Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Stella. I didn't mean to... I guess, I guess I'll go now, Mr. Dallas.
He had a little too much Christmas, I guess. He was here a little while ago and brought a turkey, and I had a terrible time getting rid of him. What did you find out about the train?
Well, Stella, I'm afraid it would be too late.
Oh, I see.
I'm all ready. Was I very long, Dad?
Not at all, darling. Goodbye, Stella. I'll take good care of her.
Goodbye, Stephen.
Goodbye, Mother.
Bye.
Oh, thank you for letting me go. Merry Christmas, Mommy. Goodbye.
Lolly. Oh, Lolly.
Hello, Morley and Morley. One moment, please.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I got an appointment with a Mr. Morley, a lawyer. He wrote me, Stella Dallas.
Oh, yes. This way, please. Mrs. Dallas, Mr. Morley.
Oh, come in. Won't you sit down, please, Mrs. Dallas?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dallas, I wrote you a letter, and in it I stated...
You don't have to tell me what you stated. Just tell me what you meant.
Mrs. Dallas, it's only natural to suppose that you should wish to legalize your position.
Legalize my position? Well, I've got our marriage license. Look here, Mr. Morley, what are you trying to give me?
Your freedom. A divorce. Mr. Dallas feels, and I can readily understand why, that you might wish to remarry.
Remarry? Listen, Mr. Morley, let's get down to brass tacks. I haven't the slightest idea of ever remarrying. Now, it don't happen by any chance to be Mr. Dallas who wishes to remarry, does it?
Well, assuming for the moment that it does, surely you could have no objections. Your allowance would be the same. As a matter of fact, Mr. Dallas might even be able to increase the amount he's sending you.
I don't want any increase. Let him keep it and let me keep my daughter.
Mrs. Dallas, Mr. Dallas has no intention of any change regarding your daughter.
Oh, he hasn't. Then what's he been trying to win her away for? taking her to fine hotels, country places, townhouses, making her dissatisfied with the kind of things I've been giving her. Does he think I don't see what he's after? Well, he'll never get away with it, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to give her the same things. Everything her heart's been set on. Fine hotels, fancy friends, she's going to have them all. Only I'm going to give them to her, and he's going to pay for them. And if he's got any extra increases, he can just hand them over. And if he don't, maybe I'll get a lawyer and bring in the name of that highfalutin widow.
But, Mrs.
I won't keep you any longer, Mr. Morley. Thank you very much. Just see that the check is mailed to the same place. That's all the benefits I want.
Station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. In this pause between the scenes of Stella Dallas, we take our weekly glance into things intimately Hollywood. This week, we're going to catch a glimpse of the workings of a motion picture studio. As operations manager of Paramount, our guest is chief of a studio police force of 55 men. He supervises the building of scenery for every Paramount picture. He has charge of the restaurant where the stars eat and controls an army of 2,000 craftsmen representing 125 different trades. It's his business to see that a script girl gets a new pencil or Frank Lloyd an 1870 steam engine. He'll order the construction of a fleet of battleships one week and the erection of a carnival set the next. He's a practical magician who sees that studio ideas become realities. His name is T. Keith Glennon, and he talks to you now.
Thanks, C.B. But there's one more job I do that you didn't mention, a job that makes me feel quite at home here. I've heard a lot of people from Paramount mention Lux toilet soap on this program. But I'm the one who sees that it gets there, especially in the dressing room of the stars. And judging from what they tell me, it is certainly a remarkable soap. However, the real work at the studio isn't done by me, but by the army of 2,000 you mentioned. And the credit should go to the men who directly supervise the activities of these craftsmen. They can make or secure about everything a director can dream up. And believe me, when a director bears down, he can certainly do some dreaming.
Now, that's why we have men like you, Keith, to make our dreams come true.
Thanks. It's getting the unusual things done that make this job interesting.
Like finding that locomotive?
Exactly. Mr. Lloyd needed a genuine 1870 locomotive for Wells Fargo. We finally found what he wanted in Nevada. It hadn't been used for 13 years and was partly dismantled. We bought it, but that only started our problem.
Yes, you could hardly wrap it up and send it home.
Right. We had to get a license from the Interstate Commerce Commission, pass government tests, and secure another license permitting us to operate the engine for motion picture purposes. But without tracks, the engine didn't do us much good. So we made a deal with 2 railroad companies, each of which will operate it for us whenever we need it. It's seen only for a few moments in Wells Fargo, but I'd say our efforts were worthwhile, for already 2 other studios have rented it.
Well, at least I haven't given you that much trouble with the Buccaneer.
Oh, no? Instead of a train, all you asked for was a fleet of warships, a parrot that could talk French, and a dog that could walk the plank, and a few other odds and ends that took us months to find.
And if that aviator doesn't stop practicing skywriting above my set, I'm going to ask you for an anti-aircraft gun.
We took care of that fellow this morning. Paramount, you see, is on a direct line with local airports, which means we can't stop planes from flying over the studio and ruining a certain amount of soundtrack. But a little persuasion with the flying field usually works. Planes don't bother us nearly as much as clouds. Last week, our weather expert reported a black cloud over Pasadena was heading our way and might spoil the light for Mr. DeMille. We warned Mr. DeMille, but it didn't faze him a bit. All he said was to hurry up and head the cloud off toward Long Beach.
And to my amazement, you did it.
Yes, the only request we haven't been able to fill in recent weeks is that of W.C. Fields. We had to supply him with a kiddie car for the big broadcast of 1938, but we couldn't comply with his wish that we carve the wheels out of Charlie McCarthy.
Good night, Pete. Good night, thank you. Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, Anne Shirley, and Barbara O'Neill in Stella Dallas. Determined to give her daughter everything her father could, Stella took Laurel to a fashionable summer hotel. But Stella's gaudy style and her unpolished manner soon became the subject of amused comment. Laurel asked to leave. On the night train bound for Boston, the unsuspecting Stella lies awake in a lower berth, listening to Laurel stirring restlessly above. Some girls from the hotel come in from the adjoining car.
going to make the train at all. Did you have a blowout? That's about sleeping. I met Ethel. Oh, I gotta get my breath.
Here, sit down.
I want to tell you what Ethel told me. You remember that funny-looking woman parading around the grounds this afternoon? No, I didn't see her. Well, if you didn't see her... No, they described. Dressed up to here and painted in shit. Really? And bells on her shoes that tinkled all the time. Bells? And bracelets up to her elbows. You never saw such a sight. Well, anyway, do you know who she was? No. Tell us. Laurel Dallas's mother. Laurel Dallas? Oh. I can't believe it. You mean that pretty little girl that Dick Grosvenor's been rushing? But are you sure? She seems so lovely and sweet. I know it. Isn't it weird to have such a common-looking creature for a mother? Poor thing.
Poor nothing. She's wearing Dick Grosvenor's fraternity.
But you won't be wearing it long, I'll bet. Not when Mrs. Grosvenor hears about it. No.
Your berth is ready, ladies.
Oh, thanks for it. Tell us more about it. Mother. Mommy. Are you awake, Mother?
What?
Have you been awake?
Me? No. I've been sleeping like a log.
Oh, Mommy, it's so lonely up there. I want to come down here and cuddle with you.
Sure, honey. Sure, darling.
Yes?
I'd like to see Mrs. Morrison.
Was it in reference
I couldn't
to...
say it's private. I'd have to see Mrs. Morrison.
Who is it, Brooke?
Oh. Are you Mrs. Morrison?
Yes.
I'm Stella Dallas. Mrs. Stephen Dallas.
Oh, come in, please. We can talk in the library, Mrs. Dallas.
Thank you. I'm sorry to bother you when you're home, but
Want to sit down?
No. What I have to say won't take very long. It's just that...
Well, we may as well be comfortable.
I know you must think it's funny me coming here like this. I'm not going to beat around the bush, but what I want to know is if Stephen was free, if I got a divorce like his lawyer wanted, would you two get married?
Yes, we would. Well, I'm sorry if it's unpleasant, but I'd rather that you knew the truth.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to know is if you and Stephen did get married, well, what about Laura? Would you take her, too?
Oh, no, Mrs. Dallas. I'm a mother, too. Do you think that I could ever deprive another mother of her only little girl?
Yeah, but if the mother didn't want her, I mean, if she couldn't very well have her, if it was inconvenient.
Inconvenient?
Yeah, you see, Lolly's growing up now, and she's quite a responsibility.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, you see, it's this way. From now on, there's lots of things Lolly ought to begin having. Oh, I don't mean money, but dances and parties, good times. And really, I've never been much on that sort of thing, so I feel that I've done about all I can for her, and I thought that you being so crazy about her father and she taking after him so much that, well, if you and Stephen got married, why, Lolly could come and live with you, and your name being Mrs. Dallas, you see, why, everybody would naturally think that she was... Well, they think she was your little girl, and when you went places, you see... Well, you see... You're the kind of a mother that any girl would be proud of.
Oh, I didn't know anyone could be so unselfish.
And I'll say one thing, Mrs. Morrison. You'd never be ashamed of Lolly either. Everybody's just crazy about her. She makes a wonderful impression. She's so refined and elegant in her ways, but... Oh, well, you already know that. Anyway, she's crazy about you already. She don't talk as much as she used to, but that's because she thinks I'm jealous or something, and I guess I was a little, but I'm not anymore. And you'll see in a little while In a little while, she'll forget all about me, and it won't be any time before she loves you just like you are her real mother. And Mrs. Morrison, she's so wonderful, you don't know.
Oh, I do know. And I know that it hasn't come only from her father.
I have to go now. Lolly doesn't know I've come, and I don't want her to yet. She's awful funny underneath, and I thought it all out. It'll be better to just let her come for the visit here like always, and by that time it'll all be over. The divorce, I mean, and then you can break it to her. It'll be easier that way.
For bed, Laura?
Almost. Oh, it's been such a grand evening. I'm so excited.
Oh, your father's coming up to kiss you good night.
You know, I've never seen Father so happy before.
And you, dear, are you happy?
So very for you both. But I've been worrying about something.
Why? What could possibly be worrying you?
Well, I don't know what to call you.
Oh, that's all. I'm glad. Because I have something that I want to tell you, which I hope will make you just as happy as it has me. From now on, Laurel, you're going to be one of us, really, dear. You're going to be a member of this family like Con and Lee and John. They're your brothers, and this is going to be your home as much as it is theirs.
It's my home?
Yes, dear. You're going to live with us.
Live here?
Yeah, the house in town, wherever we are. Does it make you happy, Laurel?
Oh, yes. It makes me very happy to know that you want me because, I do love you all so very much. But I couldn't leave my mother.
Oh, you won't be leaving her, Laurel. You'll visit her whenever you like.
Oh, no, I couldn't. Thank you ever and ever so much,
Laurel, your mother, your father, all of us who love you, feel that now that you're getting older, there are many advantages that we can give you.
I know, and I do thank you, but I'm sorry. Father.
Yes, dear?
Father, you don't mean you thought that I could ever live anywhere without Mother?
Well, darling, you lived without me. Your mother and I are just changing places for a while, that's all. Isn't it fair for me to have a little of what she's had all these years?
But that's different, Father. You know it is. I've been with Mother all these years because I needed her, and now she needs me, and you need me less than ever.
Oh, Laurel, don't say that.
I'm sorry, Laura, if you don't see that what we've planned is for your good. We thought it would make you happy. Your mother and I have decided upon what we thought would be best for you.
My mother, does she know?
We both feel that this should be your home for a while, at least.
Oh, I'm sorry, Father, but please understand. My home will be with my mother as long as I live.
No, darling.
Stephen. Laurel, you don't understand, dear. This was all your mother's idea. She planned it herself. She came to see me, and we talked it all over.
My mother came to see you?
Yes, dear.
When did she come?
Well, I don't know.
Was it just after we got back from the hotel?
Well, I believe it was, but...
Oh, my poor mother, my wonderful mother. Oh, she wasn't asleep. She heard what those girls said. Oh, I must go to her. I must go to her at once.
Darling, tell us about it.
Oh, Daddy, please help me. I can't make my visit here. I want to go to my mother.
Don't, dear, don't.
Hello? Mrs. Stella Dallas?
Yeah, that's right.
We have a telegram for you. Shall I read it to you?
Telegram? Yeah, read it, will you?
It's from Helen Dallas. It says, Laurel is on her way back to you. When she was told your unselfish plan, she refused to accept it. She loves you very much.
Oh.
Will there be an answer to that?
Huh? No, thanks.
Mother!
Molly! Whatever brought you back?
Oh, I've been waiting here all afternoon.
But I thought...
Oh, Mommy, how could you think? As if I could ever live anywhere except with you.
Oh, I thought you'd like it for a while. really, you always seem to have such a good time with your father.
Oh, yes, but good times. Oh, they aren't what make you belong. It's other kind of times. It's when you've cried together and when you've been through things together. Oh, that's when you seem to love them most. It's different when... But didn't they send the telegram? They said they would.
Oh, most likely they tried to deliver it and I was out. I've been on the go ever since you left. Here, put these flowers in water for me.
Oh, they're lovely.
Yeah, from an old admirer. Edmund blew into town. I've been stepping out with him for a change.
Edmund?
Yeah, now put him in water. I want him all fixed nice when he gets here.
Mommy.
Well, are you going to do it or aren't you?
You don't mean that you and Edmund...
Oh, Lolly, give him to me. What's the matter with you? You stand there like you was watching a funeral or something. I got a couple of new records after you left. You want to hear them? Oh, boy, I don't like that one. Oh, Mommy, stop it. Lolly, what did you do that for?
Oh, Mommy, don't you remember? A long time ago we said... And you promised about him...
Oh, Lolly, I know what you're driving at. Now let me tell you something. I've spent the best years of my life on you. A woman wants to be something else besides a mother, you know. Well, you will know when you get grown up. You can't explain everything to a child. Now, go on, run along. Well, what are you waiting for? Go on. All right. All right.
Lolly. Oh, God.
Miss Laurel Dallas, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Dallas, this evening becomes the bride of Mr. Richard Grosvenor III in a ceremony to be held in the Fifth Avenue home of her parents.
Brooks, is everything ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, but those curtains, Brooks. I told you they weren't to be drawn. Open them, please.
I beg your pardon, ma'am. But if the wedding is to be held in this room...
Well?
It makes it a bit public, ma'am.
Perhaps. But I want those curtains open, please.
Very good, ma'am. Helen,
Yes, dear?
is that for her?
Yes. She'll be out there, watching from the street. I know she will.
You're sweet, Helen.
I've got to go see Laurel. Laurel, are you almost ready?
Yes. What's this?
You're crying. Oh, my darling.
I was just thinking. I never really thought that my mother... Oh, I thought that she would read about the wedding, even though she was too far away to come. At least she'd write to me.
Oh, my dear. Do you think that if she knew, any distance in the world would keep her away?
Then you think she just doesn't know?
I know she loves you, darling.
Look, there's a window. You can see the whole thing.
Front row seats, huh?
All right. Don't shout. Break it up there. Come on. Break it up. You too, lady. Move along now.
Oh, please. Please, let me stay a minute. Just let me see her face when he kisses her, please. Oh.
All right. Now you've seen it. You happy?
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our play has ended, but our stars return with Mr. DeMille in just a moment. We just want to mention those who so ably made up tonight's cast. They were Lou Merrill as Ed Munn, Bruce Satterley as Cornelius Morrison,
Jack Egger as Leo Morrison, Dickie Jones as John Morrison, Wallace Roberts as Mr. Cooper, Sada Cowan as Mrs. Cooper, Hudson Fawcett as Mr. Chandler, Grace Kern as Carrie, James Eagles as Charlie, Teresa Harris as Edna, Frank Nelson as Mr. Morley, Elia Braca as Secretary, Margaret Brayton as Lynn, Joan Taylor as Doris, Margaret McKay as Telegraph Girl, Mary Lansing as a mill girl, Ross Forrester as Pullman Porter, and Alexander Lockwood as a policeman. Miss Stanwyck, whose next picture is Breakfast for Two, appeared through courtesy of RKO Studios, as did Miss Shirley. Another hit film from this studio is Stage Door, starring Ginger Rogers, Katharine Hepburn, and Adolphe Menjou. Mr. DeMille is from Paramount, where John Boles is now filming The Yellow Nightingale. Louis Silver's 20th Century Fox, where he was in charge of music for Lancer Spy. Stella Dallas will soon be heard on the air in serial form. Back now to Mr. DeMille.
Once again, the curtains part for our stars, Barbara Stanwyck, John Boles, and Anne Shirley.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say congratulations to the Lux Radio Theater on his third birthday. As for Stella Dallas, the picture in the radio play, I'm very thankful indeed to have been in it. But the real honors belong to Barbara and Anne. Barbara had to grow 20 years older and really look it. And Anne had the job of appearing as a 13-year-old girl. And I think even Anne will admit she's a little bit more than that.
Well, I didn't have to use much makeup to look 13, but poor Barbara had to go around loaded down like a moving van.
But I loved it. Chiefly, I suppose, because it was such a fine character part.
While I've changed, I've been accused of aging players without resorting to makeup. I think our listeners would like to know, Barbara, just what we do to add 15 or 20 years to a player's appearance.
Well, it's all a matter of upholstering the hips, stomachs, and ankles. It's done with cotton padding, and it makes you feel a bit like a football player. The pouches I had under my eyes, the lines and wrinkles on my face, were done with paint and brush, and so were my hands. I put sags in my cheeks by stuffing my mouth with rolls of cotton, just like the dentist uses when he says, "This is going to hurt us just a little." Yes, if you happened to see me in the picture, you'd swear I never was near a cake of Lux toilet soap in my life. I certainly looked awful.
But don't you worry, Mr. DeMille. Barbara wouldn't be without Lux soap for anything, judging from the way I saw her use it in her dressing room. Neither would I. I think it's grand.
And you'll find Lux soap in my home, too, just as you did on the set. For a nice, smooth complexion, there's nothing like it.
And again, about Anne's age, it may interest you to know that although she played the daughter of Barbara and me in the picture and on the radio, she isn't old enough to vote yet.
Yeah, still, she's been in pictures much longer than either of you. 17 years.
That's because I started off as a baby.
She's had 4 names.
Yes, I was born Dawn Paris, then I changed it to Dawn O'Day, then to Anne Shirley, and last August I acquired the name I like best of all, Mrs. John Howard Payne. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.
And now a word about next Monday night. Picture a young husband. Picture a young husband who quits his job to turn writer. A young wife who becomes a dancer in order that he may eat while waiting for success. Then you have the premise of that sophisticated comedy of modern times, Up Pops the Devil. One of our brightest hits when it played on Broadway, and a great success on the screen. The play comes to our microphone next Monday night, starring Fred McMurray and Madge Evans. The makers of Lux Toilet Soap join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Fred McMurray and Madge Evans in Up Pops the Devil. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.